found a nice pretty red dress. Okay. Oh. Oh, Lord. Okay. Hi, folks. All right. So I'm kind of winded out from dancing yesterday. Hi, everybody. Am I married? I'm divorced twice to the same man. That's why I'm stuck here in Washington State, because he's from Bellevue, which I guess is near Seattle. I'm from South Dakota. And yeah. Oh, God. Well, today's topic, Eddie, is the Indigenous women. Now, I was looking, before I went to sleep last night, I like to get an idea of what my topic might be the next day. And all this Valentine's Day stuff was coming up. I was gonna talk about the man that murdered his wife because, well, two reasons. He felt unappreciated on Valentine's Day for his card and whatever else he did for her. It didn't really say. And then the other reason was he felt she was having an affair. So he, I believe, my memory is correct on this, he stabbed her. So I was going to talk about that, and I was like, I'm just going to dance and let it be more of a happy, free, nice Valentine's Day. But anyway, so then I came across this red dress march. Now, I've never heard of this. They do this in Oregon and all over Canada. Quebec, Montreal, Saskatchewan, Vancouver, Calgary, all over. It's on, I believe it was May 5th, for the awareness of Indigenous women that go missing. Now, and girls, young girls. Now, the thing is, a lot of people go missing, including men, and even boys, right? But this is a program about bringing awareness to these poor Indigenous women, okay? They're Alaskan, or they're from, Canada, part Indian, and their tribal communities don't give too much of a damn, frankly. They might look for a day or two and then just fudge it. So it's really quite sad, because out of all the races anywhere, they are the most missing and murdered, that aren't found by families, more than white. I mean, Caucasian people, better word things right here, more than African American. And so, there's always a lot of coverage on, right, blonde-haired, blue-eyed boys and girls and this and that, which I've done a program on before. But this is about Indigenous people. So I thought I would put my red dress on that's long in remembrance, even though it was yesterday, but I found out last night, to just let all of you know that this is such a serious thing. They have a red dress march. Everybody wears red. They hang up red dresses from trees, on fences. I found some really interesting videos. So let me say hi to everybody. That's the topic for the young man or older man that asked me. I can't remember the name now. Let me try to get up to the top. Pest Life. Sup, Megan? Mary Jane Doe, hello, thank you. Amy Quinta, Nilla, excellent. Nick, NNR, hello. Heb Shlomo, Mary Jane deleted. So, yeah, there were some that did actually need to be deleted yesterday. I watched back my live. Surprise astronaut, are you okay? No, I'm great. And honestly, you guys, I've had tremors since 1989, when I was in my 20s. And I thought it was from partying, and I thought it was just DTs. Well, I finally went to a neurologist in my 40s, I believe. Well, it was 2012. So, and they're essential familial tremors. And the more stress you go through in life, and possibly the older you get, because as you guys all know, or most of you, I'm 63. I'll be 64 in June. I mean, I remember when I turned 50 and my friend had a black party for me. gummy worms in a cake with it looked like dirt, but it was the crumblings on top and these little tombstones, you know, and black balloons and a black tablecloth, and right, because you're really over the hill at 50. So I had to learn starting at the age of 60 to embrace my age and to embrace getting older. And I've seen articles come up, because you know how Google is. Whatever you Google or talk about, it comes up. Paulina Periskivo is, what is she, 61 or something, and she's not, her hair's all long and white. Her face is pretty, but it's not perfect anymore. Like when she was the model for the Cars back in the 80s, the Cars, you know, they were from Britain, or I mean UK, and she married the lead singer, real skinny tall guy with the black hair and the glasses. I think he was the lead singer. He died of cancer a year or two ago. But anyway, she wrote a beautiful article, you know, and they're all out there. Brooke Shields is in her 60s. Um, who's the one? Gosh, she was in Lampoon's whatever, you know. Christy Brinkley's in her 70s. Like it's just intense, you know. And then we got Raquel Welch, who passed away, and Sophia Loren, and just everyone's getting older. So if you look at it that you're lucky, right, to still be alive. And I know I beat this into the ground, but I did. This past April, over the Easter weekend, I had pressure right here. And I was very emotional because my mom was sick and was deciding to go on hospice and things like that. And I hadn't seen her in a long time, and she lived in Iowa, and it felt like someone was taking a brick and pressing right here, you know, and it wasn't unbearable, but it was constant, and it hurt. And I went through 45 minutes of that, and I was like, I said to my kids, it was, you know, it was nighttime. I knew if I went to the ER, I'd be there all night with tests, but I knew to call, so I called 911, and they came, and I knew it wasn't acid reflux or indigestion. Like I don't really have issues with that. So I've said this story before. Everything was kind of okay, and then they put this machine near me and pulled all this paperwork out. And I remember the one guy looked at the other guy and said, "We need to get her to the hospital." And of course I said, "Am I having a heart attack?" And they're so good. They're so prepared with what they're going to say, right? They're like, "Well, you know, we don't, what did they say? They didn't say we don't believe so. They said, well, let's just get you to the hospital and check everything out. I'm sure, you know." I mean, they didn't say, "I'm sure you'll be fine," because that would be a lie. So, of course, I was asking them the worst news in the ambulance. I was crying. And it's on some past videos. I look like heck. I'm pale as all get out. I have no makeup on. I'm in the hospital. And it wasn't for clicks or views. It wasn't you guys. I just knew I'd need something to do. And I actually wanted to just watch YouTube. Well, I went in there and I was filming, and they had me to check for the acid thing or whatever. They had me take some kind of little pill, and then they took a picture, and they said it's called a Takotsubo, and that's another name for not grieving heart syndrome, whatever that's called. Mary Jane Doe told it to me once. It's not bleeding heart. What the heck is it? Anyway, it's a stress-induced heart attack. And honestly, you guys, like I never thought I would even have one, because I was on stroke medication since 2020. My cholesterol was low, like low. my numbers were 253. I didn't eat fat all the time. I rode my bicycle every day or walked. I used to walk up to the store because I don't drive, I don't have a car, and I'd be pushing heavy grocery carts home with food falling out of the bottom. And I mean, I've been through a lot. And but it turns out it's genetic. So yeah, so that was scary. And then of course I had to be prepped right for the things to go in, to have the heart catheter thing done to see if I had blockage. And that was an intense time. I mean, I'm like half naked and shaved and and uh and that's in case they can't get it in my arm, but they were able to just fine, you know, but they just left me laying there exposed. And these guys were really funny, like joking with each other. And they were playing, I'm not making this up, really loud Bon Jovi music in the background. I mean, to the point where in the middle of it I said, boy, you guys really love your job. So they gave it to me. No, you're so silly. Oh my God. No, they were really nice. They were fairly young, you know, in their 30s and 40s. And there was like 5 of them in the room because two had to move me off the gurney thing onto this flat board thing. And then another one had to do this. And another one was the main monitor and and I had to lay there. But I'm blessed. I don't have any blockage. And I thought maybe, right, from high cholesterol in the past and stuff, I might. So I was released in 2 days, but I had to, just like with my stroke, I was very, very weak, and I had to make sure I could walk down steps with the help of someone. They had my belt thing around my waist and make sure I could come back up them at the hospital over here. So, I'm sharing this stuff, you guys, because I act a little, flamboyant and out there, and people judge me, and I don't care. Like, I'm happy to be alive. My poor sister lost her battle with cancer January 15th. She was a year younger than me, and she has a lot of grandkids and lives in Missouri, and I hadn't seen her, gosh, since 2011 when she drove to my mother's and I saw my mom. And my daughter then was 7. She's 21 now. So between money and my son's health issues and the divorce that I went through a second time with my ex and dealing with my daughter's father and my mom's health issues and then the stupid COVID, that's the main thing that kept us away from each other for a good those 5 years, just because then her husband got cancer, and I didn't want to get on an airplane and possibly bring it, and we've all been vaccinated, and I'm not going to get into that because YouTube doesn't like that, but I mean, I've even had 2 boosters. I've had 5 vaccinations. Am I going to do any more? No, I'm just not. So, but I did, and my mom did, and she never did get the C disease. My mom never got it. Steve did, her husband, but she never did. And I was worried sick because she was in her, at that time, late 70s. So I am a liberal. Thank you very much. I certainly am. I mean, I've always been a Democrat, right? When McGovern was running in South Dakota, way back yonder. And yeah, you guys, I mean, let's not get it twisted, okay? I'm not for all these people coming over the borders and taking over everything and hurting and pillaging and God knows what else people. But I think if you're not a criminal, you should be given the chance especially if you have a family. And because is it good to just break up families? Is that a good thing? To just take a 5-year-old from his mother and lock her up somewhere? No, no, it's not a good thing. So I think there needs to be due process and things like that, like the people feel in Minnesota. And anyway, yeah, so thank God ICE is, I guess they're pretty much all leaving Minnesota, but I'll believe it when I see it. And I'm just gonna say this, you guys. I'm glad there's a shutdown. I'm glad there's a shutdown because that means that we mean business. We mean business by. I mean, even the president says that they should have the ICE should have cameras on them, and I think he agreed for their masks to be down. I think, but definitely cameras. The Republicans won't say yes to one darn thing. Not the cameras, not the, coming down, not the due process, um, less harmful tactics. I mean, I couldn't believe it. It's like they're not willing to negotiate. So I'm just going to say it. I'm glad there's a shutdown. Now, I know that's easy for me to say. I don't work for the government, right? Apparently, they're all going to get paid till about the middle of March. If this goes on any longer, they'll be working without pay. Right now, there is enough money for them to get paid. I saw that on the news. And I haven't seen CNN in ages. I watch MSNBC, I watch MS Now, I watch ABC, CBS, but I mostly watch Live Now Fox. And I started really liking that channel when there were these incredible police chases and you're like on the edge of your seat watching these cars get chased, right? That's how I found it. And they're on top of things. So with all this Nancy Guthrie stuff, I mean, I just wait. I wait for it to show up on that because they try to be the first ones there. And the thing is, you guys, they're unbiased. Like they don't sit there and put the president down and then stoke up the Democrats. They just speak, and I really like them. Not Fox News. I do not like Fox News. I'm talking Live Now Fox out of Arizona, I believe Channel 13. So, well, thanks, Jarvis. Thanks so much. That's very sweet. Liberals suck. Well, I mean, it's okay. And honestly, should Biden have opened the borders like he did? Good Lord, no, no, you know. So, I can only go back to Go Make Me a Sandwich Wahaman by Feld Gender Mary. He by Alan Victory. Eddie says that's insane. Rainia says today is my birthday. Well, happy birthday, Rainia Saeed. It's Saeed, right? SAED 744. What's the point of this? I don't know. Wait, that was at 2:36 and it's now, I don't even know what time it is. Let me see. 2:43. Bukaki by Ginger V Max. Husafel said happy birthday to you. Alan Victory, did they pull your finger when you were getting under pressure? LOL. Thank you. So right now, how is your health? Says Eddie. It's really pretty good. Can you be a moderator? Adeline Santos says. Sure. I don't have people ask that often, and I have quite a few. But on this YouTube Live, I have more people from like around the world. I mean, all over. France, Italy, Germany, Kazakhstan, um, New Zealand, Ireland, Scotland. I mean, you name it. Are you in the US? Says Dodie 11. Yes, I'm in Washington State. Oh, good grief. You look like you have great knockers. That's funny, Ginger VMAX. Well, they used to be a little better when I was younger, but I can't complain. When you can spell it correctly, maybe. DJ Jester XXX. I look like Doris from Caillou. I used to watch Caillou with my son, and I can't remember. Is that the mother in that? Ha ha DJ. Hey, can I request a song for you to play? Says YVM3 Peak. This is the thing. The music I choose, you guys, is YouTube YouTube free library, and I don't get copyright. You know what I mean? Okay, I have been told that I look a little like Betty Boop. That's by Mr. Night Vamp. You look like a great example, says Real Bob FNF. Mr. Night TV Vamp is here. Jade Ivy said must be a liberal. There's a lot of bad stuff coming out now about those vax. Yes, Mary Jane Doe. And I knew that might happen, but I didn't want to be the one person that ends up with a ventilator down my mouth. And then back then in the very beginning of the COVID days, 80% of those people, they died. So good grief. Johnny Timmons says, Johnny, do you play Leapfrog? I Will Miss by Alan Victory 777. You must be a conservative, doesn't matter, says Kelly. RV Lifestyle in the building. You look like Caillou's mom. Say what is liberal? I'm not a smart man. You are always so gorgeous. You're so funny, Jarvis. Thank you so much. It's nice to get compliments, especially as you get older. Stop being rude. She's trying to be kind, says Astro Dandy's World. Thank you. Okay, sorry, I'm just trolling random streams, says Real Bob FNF. Would you do me a favor and call 57 star 57 on the telephone? No, because then you'll have my number, right? You know me, Bob 420. Look like long pencil erasers, says Seth Bird 275. Have a good day, bro. You'll change the world, man. Jade Ivy says you don't speak facts. Eddie says right now I believe we are living like Germany did before World War II. Yeah, I agree. I do, Eddie. Stay who you are, says Real Bob. Minnesota supports ICE, says Jade Ivy. No, they don't. Your energy is infectious. Love and greatly appreciated, says Jarvis. Thank you so much. Very kind of you. The papers, Minnesota, your teeth. ICE should stay, says @Trooper. ICE should stay. That's twice you said that, said Martin Rowe. Hi, Martin Rowe. So what is for dinner tonight? I am getting hungry, says Alan. I don't know. We had cheeseburgers and scalloped potatoes last night. My son doesn't like that, so he had a little bag of chips. He's still doing his keto. He's lost 16 pounds in a little over a month. But normally he doesn't get to have like a bun with his hamburger, but he's been so good about it. He's having a little extra. I don't know. I go half and half in politics, says Eddie. I not see. Christopher, wow, what a gorgeous lady. Thank you. Lady in red, absolutely stunning sweetheart. Trip, liberals suck. Mary Jane Doe, lots of people don't. Do better research. You are being misinformed, says Jade. Trip says Trump. with the flag. Scott 1600, those in power work together, persuade others, lower class, to fight among each other. Exactly, Scott. At Scott 1600, I completely agree. Trip, I support ICE. Sorry I missed the dance party, says Jarvis. White girl magic. I had a question based off the current population demographics between races in the US. Who would get affected more out between continued breeding? What? Between blacks and whites. Races. Who would get affected more out between continued breeding? Get affected in a negative way would definitely, I think, be the blacks. That's a hard one though, and I don't know. My cat, maybe, I don't know if I understood your question wholly. My cat bit my finger off, says Henry 3214. Good Lord. What's your age, miss? She's out west. I'm 63. Jade says 77 million Americans voted for this. Well, but they were kind of lied to. And that's what they feel like now. What's good body count? What? Trip. Race and IQ query? Which parent's genes does it say has strongest influence on the IQ of offspring? Also, which race on average scores highest on IQ tests, SATs and ACTs? These are good questions, but I really don't know. I'll be a Siri mod if you need some moderators. Ruin the host stream. I'll be a serious mod if you need some moderators. Ruin the host stream. Serious. I'm gonna guess a mom. Yeah, Jarvis, that sounds good. I'll be watching back my live and I can make you a mod. Because I like to see if people come back once and maybe only twice, and then it's who supports me mostly. Jarvis, beautiful eyes and a sweet voice. I'm starting to like you a little. You're so funny. Well, thank you. I'm gonna guess a mom, says Victor Cruz. Yes, Minnesota supporters, ICE. You are watching a very small area of the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul. I miss our friends that used to say sexy 3. What does that mean, Mary Jane Doe? Waltz, Fry, Ellison are criminals. No, they're not. Beautiful eyes. Oh, I already read that. So if I missed your comment, it's because I can only go back a certain amount, you guys. But I'll see them all. And welcome to the 13 in the bushes. It's pretty laid back, my moderators do a good job. I don't like anybody timed out. And I don't kick people from this, because I'm not your mother, and if things get racist or to where it affects terms of service with YouTube, and it's really bad and it's like repeated, yeah, you'll be blocked. You'll have to be. But the timeouts, I don't agree with. And if you're a moderator, it's really to just to support me and that kind of thing. A third term, that'll be the day. Yes, they are criminals. Do your research. A third term, yeah. Lord have mercy. I hope that doesn't happen. Now, I'm gonna set this up. We're gonna get to the red dress day, March, and that kind of thing. So Let's see. I don't usually comment really and read the chat when I'm showing videos because I don't want like a bunch of talking in the background. So this is a video on why are Indigenous women disappearing across Canada. Okay, and here we go.
Around the world, women from Indigenous communities are often most at risk of being displaced, attacked, harmed, and
Okay, so it says on the bottom, you guys, heads up. We've detected video in your stream belonging to someone else. Your stream may be temporarily blocked if you plan to continue. Please ensure that the content owner has added your channel to their allow list. Now, I've shown stuff from the news, and I thought this was the news, but possibly it's not. It says Vice News. This is the news. So what I'm going to do is just not show Vice News, okay? Now, I don't think I would get like a copyright, but then my entire live, what I've talked about and chatting with you guys, this whole program would be taken down. So, let me try the other one that I had lined up. Okay.
I'm Jabin, and today we're bringing you coverage from across downtown Toronto as communities gather to mark Red Dress Day, a national day of awareness and remembrance for missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirit people. On May 5th, our RPTV reporter, Fred Alvarado, attended 3 moving events that honored the lives lost and called for justice and change. Red Dress Day, rooted in the Red Dress Project by Métis artist Jamie Black, commemorates the thousands of Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirited people who have gone missing or been murdered across Canada. The red dress, often seen hanging empty in public spaces, represents
you,
those lives
G.
stolen
Hi.
by violence and colonial systems, and it is called for justice and transformation.
I actually always put it now. I copy it in my
Canadian Center of Toronto,
description.
Where Mayor Chow
but
joined
thank
elders,
you.
singers, and community members in a powerful ceremony filled with drumming and sacred fire. Next, we head to Native Child and Family Services of Toronto at 30 College Street.
Thanks,
Here, a red dress designed by artist E.G. Condibens was displayed as part of commemorative gathering. The event offered space for reflection, learning, and storytelling as part of the agency's commitment to honoring missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirit people. Finally, Fred visited Toronto Metropolitan University, where red dresses were hung across the campus in a striking visual exhibit. This installation served as both a memorial and a call to action, reminding all Canadians of the urgent need to respond to the 231 calls for justice and end the violence Indigenous women and girls continue to face. Let's take you to the highlights from these commemorations.
Good morning, bonjour, Ali. Welcome to the Native Canadian Center of Toronto. Today we come together as a community to honor and bring service to the countless Indigenous people who have gone missing or being murdered across North America. This crisis has persisted for decades.
It's a literal crisis. that's existed for decades.
The MMIW event provides a powerful platform for families, advocates, and communities to share their stories, raise their voices, and demand justice and systemic change. Through ceremonies, educational panels, and public demonstration, the event fosters healing and solidarity while shining a light on the urgency of protecting Indigenous lives. So welcome. We have wonderful speakers here today. Should be much for attending this wonderful event with us.
Okay, I might get in trouble for, wait. Okay. There's not many people there.
Thank you for being here.
Oh,
As we gather this beautiful land. We ran red so that we could breathe together, warm together. And thank you for having this courage on the Red Dress Day.
Red Dress Day.
It's a remembrance. It's an act of resistance. It's also an act of resilience. And as we mourn together and feel together, mourning, imagining the murdered and missing women, children, young girls, it could be mom, sister, it could be a friend, it could be a daughter. As we mourn, let us also imagine that spirit. What is that spirit telling us? It said that we need to work harder and imagine a life that is not, that are free of violence. Instead, full of love. Red is also love, right?
Red is love.
We know that. So let us imagine a place, a city that has that. So what does that mean? What it could mean is when someone is new coming to a city and they're welcomed by elders, by a place that they know and trust. It could be this center. It could be a place that could be that they know how to get there. And that they would be able to find shelter. That would be amazing. Immediately sheltered and feel welcome. Or have a bit of funds or rent subsidy so they can rent someplace that is affordable. And then be able to connect to the incredible Indigenous community in Toronto. So they have a sense of community.
So this is in Toronto, Canada.
Whichever they are.
This meeting.
Teens or Aishade or wherever they might be. All the regular. It depends. And then imagine being able to find the education and the opportunity, the employment opportunity, wherever they want. It could be art, it could be music, it could be some learning, it could be connection, it could be creativity. Because often creativity heals and brings us together. So today, as I'm not able to join spirit of love and resistance, justice, empathy, all of those hope, just new life. So thank you for allowing me to say a few words.
Justice, empathy, and hope. Okay, I'm gonna turn this music music off so I don't get copyright.
I'm going to be talking about
Oh wait,
and creating.
it's over.
In rewelding and creating other lives, myself, as a 60s survivor, have had to build worlds.
Okay, this is I'm gonna find a different one now at this point because I don't usually stop them like this, but there's sort of a lot of, I don't know, air, static, something or other happening in the background. And I also didn't know it was 26 minutes long. I haven't seen these. I'm watching them for the first time with you guys. Let's see. Thank you for everyone being here. And again, I'm doing this because while people are getting roses and handing out roses and taking their significant others or whatever to dinner and eating, boxes of chocolate and all this, many people were marching through all the different areas of Canada. And apparently even Oregon has this red dress day. It's called March. And in my 63 years of life, I didn't know about it. Never heard about it. It came up and I thought, well, Valentine's Day is over, but only by one day. I'm gonna show this, Now, this is CBC Kids News. Let me see what this one's like.
Did you know that Indigenous women and girls are 12 times more likely to go missing or be murdered than non-Indigenous girls in Canada? That's 12 times. This is KN Explains Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women, Girls, and Two-Spirit People. You might be familiar with MMIWG. Maybe you've seen the updated version, MMIWG2S+. It's a short form label for a national crisis here in Canada, and it stands for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women, Girls, and Two-Spirit People Plus. A red dress is often used as a symbol to help raise awareness for this issue, with Red Dress Day being held every May 5th. Together, the acronym and the red dress represent a call to end violence against Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirit people.
May 5th and Valentine's
So why
Day.
are Indigenous women and girls being targeted? Explaining the historical and current issues that have led us to this national crisis is hard to do in a short video, but the experts I have spoken to have made this clear. Indigenous lives have been devalued since the beginning of colonization. And organizations such as Amnesty International say that racist and sexist stereotypes, like thinking Indigenous women are less than or less cared about, can lead some people who commit crimes and acts of violence to think that they can get away with it. So how many have gone missing or have been harmed? We don't have the exact numbers. Experts say that's often due to differences in how cases are reported or a lack of reporting in general. Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirit people often slip through the cracks. There are almost 1,500 known cases that have been tracked since 1929. Activists believe that stat to be much higher. One estimate from more than 10 years ago suggests that the number of missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirit people is more than 4,000. Those numbers are a lot to process. But it is important that we remember that each number is a real person who is loved by their families and communities. And
So
still, these
sad.
numbers do not give a face or a name to the women and girls who have experienced this tragedy, or the families who have had to live without them. To some Indigenous communities, especially those that are matriarchal or led by women, the loss of life represents loss of culture and leadership as well. We know this is a national crisis, so what is being done about it? In 2016, the Canadian government launched an investigation into the issue known as an inquiry. An inquiry seeks to gather information and to answer questions. Questions such as, why does this happen? Who does it affect? And what can be done about it? It took decades of activism by the families of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls before the government agreed to have an inquiry. Indigenous women and Two-Spirit leaders have been at the forefront of this advocacy and have consistently demanded action from leaders and governments. It included government officials, police officers, family members, and survivors who shared their stories. A final report came out 3 years later in 2019. This report labeled these ongoing deaths and disappearances as a genocide against Indigenous women and girls. The commissioners also came up with 231 calls for justice. Two quick examples of these: educational campaigns by the government to stop the violence from being normalized, and teaching kids in school about the issues that Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirit people face every day. So far, very few calls for justice have been completed. And while the Government of Canada says many of the calls are underway, critics say the process is taking too long. And still, the issue continues to happen in cities and communities across the country today. I'm here at the MMIWG Monument in Winnipeg. It's a site for many marches, vigils, and a place for our communities to gather. As a young Dakota woman, I remain inspired by the leadership of the families across this country who have experienced this tragedy. So what can you do? The experts I spoke to said that people can learn more about the crisis, educate others, read the calls for justice, and even pick a few you can work on in your own community. And as I finish up here, I'm reminded that Indigenous women and girls remain artists, visionaries, and leaders who are imagining and building a brighter future, one where we can walk together. That's it for CBC Kids News. I'm Sophia Smoke, signing off.
Oh my gosh, you guys. That's just really sad. And really scary. All right, this is 3 minutes long. Just going to play a few videos that are a little more than a minute. This is honoring our missing and murdered on Red Dress Day. Again, this is May 5th. They do this, and they also do this on Valentine's Day, the march. This is CBC News, Canadian News.
My name's Champagne Thompson. I use she, her pronouns. I work as the development manager at Shelter House and am originally from the traditional territory of Minjikinning-Rama First Nation. So today, Shelter House and Vindigan have teamed up to be able to provide some information gathering
Okay, while they play music, I'm going to mute it, but you'll be able to
girls,
see
and
it.
Two-spirited individuals who have been lost.
Live in Thunder Bay. I think it's important to spread the awareness of the
up and be like, well, how come we're not doing something about this? Every person that goes missing, it breaks my heart.
And it's important that we continue saying these names aloud. So Deborah Anishinaabe.
My name is Alexis Rollinson, and I'm here with our team from Magnus Theatre. I think it's just a concentrated opportunity to take the time to think and reflect and to consider how we can better support these efforts. Well, living in Northwestern Ontario, 78% of Indigenous people in Ontario live in this region, so I think that it's very important to be an ally to our community members.
My name is Rachel Anishinaabe, and I'm from Sandy Lake First Nation. I think everybody has their personal reasons, but for us to really create awareness, like this is historical and it's still happening today, and we want to be a part of the solution. And how can we have our women and the young girls and our LGBTQS class all safe, like having that safe space for them, and breaking these historical cycles, creating awareness in Thunder Bay for our women to be safe, our people to be safe.
Okay, so there was that Indian music, and I didn't want to get copyright. So yeah, I turned the volume down from that, and my son needed a Gatorade so he could take his meds, so he's doing that. And let me see what else I want to show here. Thank you for learning about all of this with me. Just hearing it, and it makes you think, and maybe being a little extra kind to Indigenous women and children. Because that's got to be really scary. So okay, this is in Montreal. This is the 15th Red Dress Day for Canada's missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls in Montreal. It's CTV News. It's only 2 minutes and 17 seconds.
Good evening. Today is the 15th anniversary of Red Dress Day, a national day of remembrance and activism honoring missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and two-spirited people. And this evening at Cabot Square in Montreal, there was a somber gathering to remember the hundreds, if not thousands, of lives lost and unaccounted for. Unsolved cases that have left deep scars among the victims' families and friends, and highlighted how vulnerable Indigenous people are compared to non-Indigenous people in Canada. 6 years after a national inquiry made 231 recommendations, only 2 of them have been implemented thus far.
The red hand symbolizes all of the lives lost and all of the lives that deserve to be here and deserve to show up with us and be in community with us. I think it's super important if you are a settler to show up for Indigenous communities and show that you care.
In Quebec, there's a legislation now that permit families who lost their baby at the hospital and never came back. And it's more than 200 little spirit now that can go back and say, this is how I died, this is where I'm buried, or this is where I was stolen and sold. Now families can say, okay, mon bébé est mort, because of the national inquiry.
There's specific calls to action for every sector, so I would really encourage anybody who works in whatever sector you work in, go and look up what the calls to action, what the calls to justice are in your sector, whether it be a community organization, whether it be health, whether you're a parent, whether you're an artist, whether you're any type of creator, even a media consumer versus a media creator of any kind, and any type of person who has any real power over any other humans should be aware of these issues.
A 2014 report by the RCMP found that 1,181 Indigenous women and girls were missing or murdered between 1980 and 2012, but Indigenous groups say the number is closer to 4,000 and that systemic racism helped people turn away from investigating the cases for years.
Oh, gosh, you guys. So I learned something new with you. The babies are just being taken and being sold. 2 women's babies right out of the hospital. Which, I mean, I know that stuff happens now and then, but it's more of a regular occurrence for these poor Indigenous women. Good grief. Just can't believe it. Okay. Here's another one, CBC, British Columbia.
Red Dress Day is an important day for all Canadians, not just for Indigenous people. It's to bring awareness to our missing and murdered Indigenous women and to center our families who have lost their loved ones and to bring awareness that this epidemic of our Indigenous women going missing or murdered has to stop.
It's about remembering our sisters that were stolen from us. It's about remembering our family members and friends that are still missing and acknowledging them. Their names need to be said out loud, and we also need to remember them.
One of the things I was really hoping to do is to create awareness among non-Indigenous people, because our people know what MMIW means. So thankful that there was an event this morning in North Vancouver with the RCMP, and then this event here, and there's another event this evening. So I'm very, very thankful that everyone has
Missing, murdered, Indigenous women. I gotta mute this music. Okay, it's over. Okay. Let's see if there's any more I want to show. Thank you for being here. If you guys are getting anything out of my program today, if you hit the like, be really nice. And sub up to me if you'd like to. I do a different topic each day. I try to bring awareness to something, chat with the chat a little bit, dance a little bit, you know, for my cardio. And yeah. Okay, here's CBC News. This is Newfoundland and Labrador. Red dresses, not a fashion statement, but reminder of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. 2 minutes and 24 seconds.
This Sunday is National Red Dress Day. It's a day with a heavy weight, but with an increasingly important reminder.
It's a day to acknowledge the disproportionate amount of gender-based violence that Indigenous people do experience, as well as an acknowledgement of the very many missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls within our country.
It does happen here, and it happens really close to us, and it happens more than we think.
Yeah, this sort of thing is in our own backyard. With all of the gender-based violence and the issues that we deal with on a regular basis, I think there's a lack of awareness to how close things actually are.
Red Dress Day was inspired in 2010 by Jamie Black, a Métis artist based in Winnipeg, Manitoba. She hung hundreds of empty red dresses in public places, each one a reminder of someone's pain.
A lot of times the Indigenous women and girls and Two-Spirit people that go missing are often, I don't know if ignored is the right word, but a lot of times it's perceived that they just ran away versus if a non-Indigenous person went missing or something, it's oftentimes taken a lot more seriously a lot sooner. Yeah, I think it's important to recognize that so that if you do have an Indigenous person in your family that goes missing, that you're more inclined to push for that support when it's needed.
Gander groups have joined forces to improve some of that awareness. There will be displays around town to draw attention to the issue.
Sometimes it feels like they're improving, and other times not so much. It's like the saying, 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of thing. So I think they are changing to some degree. We definitely have a lot more work to do on all levels. But we're hopeful that by doing campaigns and spreading awareness that we do start seeing more of that change.
Around Gander this weekend, you can find Red Dress Day information booths and displays at the Gander Mall, the Steele Community Center, and here at Cobbs Pond Rotary Park. Troy Turner, CBC News, Gander.
I mean, you wouldn't even want your daughter to like get on your bike and, you know what I mean? And go to the store. I mean, I wouldn't. City News. Red Dress Day. We honor, we remember. This came up literally last night, like on the Valentine's Day thing.
But like so many families of stolen sisters and stolen daughters, we may never see justice. We may never get closure. Because that is the harsh reality for most victims of violence. There is no justice. Families and communities gather in remembrance, their hearts united to honor the lives of Indigenous women, girls, Two-Spirit, and transgender people who have been stolen or lost to violence. Red Dress Day, or the National Day of Awareness for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women, is observed May 5th, making up 16% of all female homicide victims, but only 4.3% of the population.
It started out as an art installation. So the reason why it was utilized is to showcase that these dresses were no longer able to be worn by our missing and murdered.
The empty red dresses hang, each representing a lost sister, cousin, or a loved one. On June 9th, 2023, Autumn Shaganash from Constant Lake First Nation went missing in Barrie. She was last seen in Latita Heights.
She's very shy, but once you got to know her, she's a really funny person and always seems happy. Never see her mad.
Moore says the last time she communicated with Autumn, Autumn sent her a text asking for a ride, but her reply a few minutes later was not delivered, and Autumn never sent another text.
I thought her phone might have died. She'll text me later once it's charged, or maybe she was making her way home, but she didn't show up.
Autumn was close with her family, so when they didn't hear from her for a couple of days, they knew something was wrong. Autumn's family has been looking for her tirelessly for almost 2 years now. Moore says no successful leads have come in.
When you see a missing flyer or a poster or something on Facebook or social media, share it. It might not seem like much, but it means the world to these families because all they want are answers. That's all anyone ever wants is just answers as to why or where they are.
Thousands of families like Autumn's are grieving, still looking for answers and finding comfort connecting with each other. For support and resources, or to learn more about Red Dress Day, visit mmiwg.ca. In Barrie, Beverly Andrews, City News.
Wow. Learn a little bit more each time.
Today, Seaside is observing Red Dress Day. It's a national day of awareness honoring missing and murdered Indigenous people. Action News 8 reporter Joyce Kim was at the event and has more.
Okay, I'm gonna mute the music a little.
Drums playing as red dresses hang in silence.
Okay, maybe not.
It's a symbol for those whose voices were taken too soon. On Saturday, communities on the Central Coast gathered at the Oldenmeyer Center in Seaside to honor missing and murdered Indigenous people for National Red Dress Day.
Missing people, Indigenous people go missing throughout the year, and our cases are almost never on the news. We get ignored throughout the United States, and it's important to raise awareness for it.
The event aims to raise awareness about violence that disproportionately affects Indigenous women and girls. Nationally, 1 in 3 Native women will experience sexual assault in her lifetime. And according to a recent FBI report, most of those assaults are committed by non-Natives. More than 5,000 cases remain unsolved.
The perpetrators know what they can get away with. The law enforcement doesn't know how to handle it because this is not something that they deal with every day. You have a lot. California has the largest population of Native Americans, and yet we're number 5 in the nation of MMIP cases, unsolved cases, unreported, uninvestigated, and that's not okay.
It was a day of healing, remembrance, and resilience. Organizers say this year's focus is on prevention, using traditional Native approaches to wellness, reconciliation, and support. The event featured Native speakers, drummers, dancers, and a red dress art exhibit, all honoring those who never made it home.
It's meaningful to me because as a Native person, somebody in my bloodline survived every genocide that came at us, and we're still fighting something that we shouldn't have to fight for. We shouldn't have to fight for resources to help us find our missing. We shouldn't have to fight for resources to help us.
Reporting in Seaside, I'm Joyce Kim, KSBW Action News 8.
Yeah, they shouldn't have to fight for the resources. Let's see if there's 1 or 2 more I want to show. Again, I haven't seen these. I'm looking at them with you guys. Oh.
Calgarians came together to remember thousands of missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, Two-Spirit, and LGBTQ+ individuals today. Events were held throughout the city to bring attention to the issue. Our Tyler Barrow joins us from Memorial Drive tonight. So Tyler, tell us about the message that they're hoping to share.
Tara, red dresses and shirts are scattered throughout the area behind me. Now, friends and family members to those individuals want today to bring attention to the people that went missing and the work that still needs to be done. Searching for those gone missing. 24 people began a walk starting at the Women's Center of Calgary, helping mark Red Dress Day. Cassandra Desjardins Stickles of Cree heritage, her cousin disappeared last year.
When every child goes missing or a woman goes missing, especially Indigenous women, it breaks my heart.
And she's just one of many here with a connection to a missing and murdered Indigenous woman, girl, Two-Spirit, or LGBTQ person.
Women that have been missing for years and nobody just, figured, it's no big deal, right? Well, it is.
According to Stats Canada, Indigenous women, girls, Two-Spirit, and gender-diverse people in Canada are 12 times more likely to go missing or be murdered than non-Indigenous women. Those here say more needs to be done.
It's really a message of awareness of what's happened in our country and what continues to happen. I think there should be more awareness global-wide.
The walk concluded at the Central Library. An exhibit is set up there with a tribute to help raise awareness about Red Dress Day. The event ended with Piikani Nation elder Charlotte Yellowhorn McLeod discussing the role men, women, Indigenous, and non-Indigenous people have in helping prevent more people from vanishing and other families from suffering.
As people, as citizens, we should support all of us because it is really heartfelt than when a sister, a mother, or a relative goes missing.
This was the 15th annual Red Dress Day honored nationwide. Tyler Barrow, CTV News, Calgary.
And that exhibit at the library will be up until Wednesday.
Wow. I don't know, you guys. Now, get a little piece of something else every time. Let me see. So what I'm gonna do is pull up type in the Valentine's Day and show you guys that why this came up. Valentine's Day, red dress, March. Okay, I want to show this, you guys, and then I'm gonna, end my live. Down on the bottom, it says Valentine's Day March pays tribute to missing, murdered Indigenous. So there's that picture. I know it's like backwards, but I didn't want you guys to think like I was making it up on Valentine's Day or something. And then, more pictures. So this is how it came up on Valentine's Day last night. And I was really kind of surprised by it. But again, it's also celebrated on May 5th. So Valentine's Day March pays tribute to missing bigger picture. So yeah. There's the Valentine's Day backwards right there. See it? VALENTINES, Valentine's Day March, pays tribute to missing and Indigenous or murdered Indigenous, backwards because it's one iPad to another. So I'm gonna thank you for being here, and thanks for being here, everybody. I'm gonna this is why I wore my red dress today. Oops. Okay, why on earth? Okay. So I'm going to end my live, you guys, and play a song and end it, okay? Thanks, everyone, for being here very, very much for an hour and a half, sticking things out with me. Yeah, more people should talk about this, bring awareness. If an Indigenous woman or girl has to go to the store and they don't want to go by themselves, go with them. I mean, you know, I just didn't realize this was happening. Just a second, I'm going to mute. And also, Mary Jane Doe, could you put my, what is it, $, paper cut Tina for my Cash App in the chat if anybody wants to tip your hostess with the mostest. The PayPal is at Dakota Dame 0627, and you can become a member if you'd like, and that'll help me get to my threshold every month, or buy a little super chat if you want to. It helps me with litter, with the kittens, and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm going to mute this really quick. Please hit the like and subscribe if you're willing to. Thanks everyone for being here, including the ones in the bushes. I love you guys, and I should be doing a live tomorrow. I never know what time. I never know what the topic is. Everything's off the cuff with me. Okay, I'm going to mute really quick and find a song. Take us out. Okay. So give my love, Maria G, if you're still in here, to your sweet daughter, Charlene. I hope she's feeling better these days. Prayers to anybody that needs them. And that song was called Resolution or Reflection. So hopefully there's a resolution to this problem and they get more funds, bring more awareness to those Indigenous women and girls. And we look out for our neighbors, all of us. So, and the reflection part, I'm going to be reflecting a lot today on what I just saw because I learned about all of this with you guys. All right. Love you. Thank you. Thank you for my likes. I appreciate that. 6 more little likes and I'll have 50. Help me get out in the algorithms even more. Bye-bye.